Okay, thanks, Kristen. Welcome, everyone, council, staff, and residents to the regular council meeting of Marmarin Lake for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. And we are being streamed live. And I'll call the meeting to order at 5:30 and just remind everyone that this is our new schedule for meetings. We had our planning meeting and committee of adjustment, and council is immediately following that, and that will be our future schedule. So I'll start with the land acknowledgement. We are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. First on the agenda is we need approval that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmarin Lake for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Jane, second. Mike, any discussion on the agenda? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Being none. Next is the mayor's report. December 16th, I presided over the regular Marmarin Lake Council meeting. At noon that day, I attended the Hastings County Christmas lunch. December 17th, I chaired the regular Southeast Health Unit meeting in Kingston. December 18th, CAO Connolly and I delivered Christmas cards to staff, and I attended the office to sign documents. January the 8th, I met with the CAO and clerk. January the 12th, I met with Councillor Daou regarding Personnel Committee agenda. January 16th, I chaired the meeting of the Personnel Committee. January the 17th, I traveled to Toronto to attend the Roma Conference representing Hastings County. And I'll just give a brief outline of some of the things that I attended or participated in. There was an emergency preparedness exercise that was 2 hours, and it was, of course, any people who wanted, it was on an invitation only and a limit to 60. And we went through exercises dealing with our experiences in our disasters that we had, like the Duraco and the ice storm. On Monday, John and I attended 3 back-to-back delegations. We had Ministry of Mines and Energy, Ministry of Transportation, and Ministry of Finance. And we shared with Sterling, because one of our big concerns, of course, is Highway 14 or Road 14. And so we presented with them in support. I attended some of the plenary programs, the zone meetings, and there was an OMERS governance changes because there's some legislative changes coming down on the OMERS pension plan. We listened to Chantel Bear as a keynote speaker, and she was very informative and quite, she has quite a sense of humor. We spoke with the Alto representative, Alexis Doyle, on a couple of occasions, and she provided us with a map of what they are what they're considering 2 optional routes. And we are scheduled to attend a meeting in March, early March, at the El Dorado Hall that they are putting on. We listened to the ministers' forum where all the ministers sit on the stage, and people walk up to microphones and ask them whatever they want to ask them. And whoever, I forget who the moderator was, but he was really strict in the amount of time that they had to ask the questions and the amount of time the ministers had to respond to them. So that was rather interesting. We also attended an ISO lunch, and ISO is the company that does the transmission of electricity. And so that was quite informative because, of course, we're always trying to promote the pump storage project. So that was just a bit of an outline of the Roma conference. Traveled back today, and we're here tonight for the planning and city of adjustment and our regular council meeting. So thank you. Next is public input. We don't have anyone here for that. Next is minutes, or the minutes of the regular meeting of the council of the municipality of Marmor Lake for Tuesday, December the 16th, 2025. And the recommendation is that the foregoing minutes of the regular meeting of the council of the municipality of Marmor Lake held Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Jane, second. Eric, any discussion on those minutes? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Staff reports, the quarterly reports, the fourth quarter of 2025. And we have the administration report, bylaw report, environmental report, fire report, parks and recreation and facilities report, and the treasurer's report. And the recommendation is that council receive the staff reports for the fourth quarter of 2025 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric and Mike, any discussion on any of those reports? Go ahead, Mike.
I'd just like to thank Nancy and all the staff putting it together. There's a lot of information in there, a lot of good information. We seem to have a very tight to the budget. Last year, we came through with a little bit of excess, but we don't have all the information in yet. So hopefully some of this can translate into money being held over to finish off some of the jobs that we have started, and also some money that could go into reserves, because coming forward, we have a lot of things that are going to be very expensive. I'd just like to thank everybody for all the reports they did. They were very good, lots of information in there. And hopefully it's a good prelude to the budget that's going to be coming. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone else, Eric?
Through the chair, I have a couple questions for Jeff, our manager of Parks and Rec and Facilities. Thanks for joining us today, Jeff. So I have a few questions for you here. Under the Parks building, you have mold remediation completed. Can you speak to some of the details of that?
Through the chair to Councillor Dowse. A full inspection of the Parks and Recreation garage was completed. Any mold detected has been removed. All surfaces surrounding these areas have been treated. Any areas exposed to water damage have also been treated. Staff are currently replacing and installing any insulation removed in-house and reinstalling wood paneling. Once this is completed, all electrical fixtures will be replaced. All expenses are covered under the existing budget included with the roof replacement. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, great job on that. You've done a great job rehabilitating that building and bringing it in under cost and under the budget number. So that's great that we're able to make use of that space and complete that project. Another question, the ear depot has moved out of the lower level of the medical center. Do you know if we have any plans for that space?
Occupancy of the section of the med center formerly used by the ear depot is currently in discussion with our management team. We will address council when we have an update. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A couple questions related to the arena. First, you have Live Barn streaming service agreement. Can you elaborate on that?
Of course. Live Barn streaming service will allow games at the arena to be broadcasted online for all to stream live. This service is becoming more prominent in most arenas, specifically those hosting the upper tiers of hockey. For instance, in our arena, we host Quinte AAA and Clever Young Kings. These organizations would prefer to play in facilities offering this service. Therefore, more gameplay could be scheduled if we do offer this service, creating more revenue. The streaming service is no cost to us. Cameras would be off the majority of time to protect people's privacy. The cameras would be only on and streaming during games that has been requested by the user group. And through the grapevine, this could become a necessity for all OMHA sanctioned gameplay. So better we get on this sooner than later. And being able to offer this service, hopefully it means more gameplay will be booked at our arena.
Excellent. Thank you. On the arena as well, you don't have a note in Q4, but we were aware that the arena roof did have a little bit of a leak in it, and you had tried some temporary fixes. Can you speak to that? Is that still leaking? Is it something we're going to need to plan for through the 26 budget process?
Of course. Repairs were completed to fix leaks above the ice floor at center ice as well as above the Lions Hall. In the second quarter, the center ice leak is at the peak of the roof. Repairs were made and no leaks were detected until ice installation at the start of September. Once the 2025-2026 ice season is complete, I will have contractors try to provide a solution from on top of the roof, as well as accessing the roof with a lift from the ice floor to contain the leak from within. So yes, there will be implications in the 2026 draft budget. Just hoping to find a permanent fix to this issue.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to point out as well, under training, it looks like both yourself and your staff have undertaken training, which I think is really good to see. You have a great team there and them improving their skills, especially in a place where the public is in and out of so often. A lot of these to do with safety of the facility and maintenance of very expensive equipment. So thank you for investing in your time and your staff's time in taking that training on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions on the quarterly reports? Being none, all in favor? Thank you. Next is a report by the clerk for the MFRF and policy annual reporting. And it's the recommendation is the council accept this municipal facility rental fee waiver and reduction request policy annual reporting report dated January the 2026 for information. And I have a mover and a seconder. Eric, Mike, any discussion on that report? Go ahead, Eric.
I think it's great to see this is being used. This was our first year of this program. So it's good that we saw 3 applicants, all which are community benefiting organizations, and the facility being used. So I know we had originally discussed after a year, maybe looking at making some changes, but I think this is a good starting point. Personally, we should leave it as is and continue into 2026 with the same program.
Any other comments? I guess I'd just like to ask Kristen, do you feel this is working, Kristen? Do you think this is we don't need to go back and review it? It's working as well as it is?
I think it's been quite successful so far. I know we had a lot of requests come to council in the months leading up to the policy being approved. We haven't had as many requests through the policy, so I think it would be nice to take another year with it as is, see if we get some more requests in, see if there's any sort of theme coming up that maybe we hadn't thought of or something like that. But so far, I think it's working well. Just sort of looking forward to more applications.
Good, great. Eric?
Well, staff has done a great job putting it prominently on the website, easy to access where all the facility information is. So it's good because you're putting that up front and making them aware. And I know front office staff is also communicating it to people that inquire about spaces, which is great that we're offering that to community groups and users.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Kristen. Any further comments? All in favor? That's carried. Next, the 2025 EDAC review. And the recommendation is that council accept the 2025 EDAC review report dated January the 20th, 2026 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Mike and Ron, any discussion or questions on that report? Eric?
Through the chair, I'd like to thank Kristen for putting this together. And the EDAC has been very active in the past year. We're very fortunate to have a lot of great members on that committee with lots of ideas and opportunity to put a lot of these ideas into play, although some of the things might take time to get off the ground. There's bigger projects that we take on through the EDAC, and as well as smaller projects like the trash pickup that have been really successful. So I think this is a great highlight of some of the achievements and projects that the EDAC is working on. If anyone in the public has any questions about the Economic Development Advisory Committee, what they're doing, what comes up in the agenda, please feel free to reach out to me. If it's something, if you're a member of the public and you'd be possibly interested in joining, we do have a couple of vacancies which will be coming up. So you can watch municipal channels for that information as we are in the very near future, we'll be recruiting some new members.
Thank you, Eric. Mike?
You said that Kristen put all that information together, not the Economic Development Association?
Kristen put the report together summarizing all of the projects that the advisory committee has taken on in the past year.
Okay, I just curious. I thought that would be the committee's job, not Kristen's. Sorry.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next is CAO status report or status update, January 2026. The recommendation is that council receive this CAO status update, January 2026 report dated January 20th, 2026 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike and Jane, any discussion or questions on that report? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you, John. Committee and board reports, Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance, minutes of October 9th and November 13th, 2025. And the recommendation is that the foregoing minutes and reports of the committees and boards listed are hereby received for information. I have a mover and a seconder, please. Eric, and second, Ron. Any question on those minutes? Eric, or comments?
Sure, just a bit of a highlight from November 13th. We had from the OFSC, the Ontario Snowmobile Federation, District 2 and 3 came and presented to the board. We were working on a new shared use agreement for many sections of the EOTA trails, which encompass the Hastings Heritage Trail. So I'm happy to report that that agreement was renegotiated and there's a 1-year term on it, and that's moved ahead for the 2026 winter season.
Thanks, Eric. Anything else on those minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Correspondence for direction. Curie Albert, MTO appeal request, and the recommendation is that council provide direction to staff. So there's a letter requesting a crosswalk, mainly to accommodate, I believe, the seniors at 43 Matthew Street. When I read the letter, so can I get a mover and a seconder to put that on the floor, Ron and Eric? The motion was to provide direction to staff. No, we need, oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Sure, I'll make a motion. So a motion to direct staff to contact the Ministry of Transportation and discuss what further, if any, non-controlled crosswalk or traffic calming options at the Highway 7 and North Hastings intersection and bring that information back to council.
Can I get a mover and a seconder? Jane and, oh, sorry, you're the mover. Jane, you second. Sorry, Eric's the mover. Go ahead, Ron. Yes.
In the past, and I'm not sure of the year at this present time, but we did a delegation at Roma pertaining to this. We did a traffic study back in first term. And the traffic study indicated there wasn't enough traffic in that intersection to trigger a pedestrian crossing study. So I'm not sure with this motion if the traffic has increased enough to do that, or if that's something we still want to do. I just know back then it didn't qualify back maybe 3 years ago or so.
I remember that. Yeah, go ahead, Mike, and then Jane.
I think it's a great idea, but this will be the third time we've tried to establish crosswalk there. And the first time they came back and said it's too close to the Highway 7 downtown stoplight. And in the summer, it would create a horrendous traffic jam and back up there if there was a crosswalk there. I think we should maybe try, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't get our hopes up too high because we've been trying, I've been on council for 12 years. We've been trying for probably 12 years.
Go ahead, Jane.
To get back to Councillor Derry's comment about a traffic study. Probably going back maybe 3 to 6 months when we were talking about the traffic lights at the intersection. We were going to be doing a traffic study at that time because we all agreed that there was increased traffic. Have we had that traffic study yet? And it would maybe bring some information back to this comment.
Yeah, the traffic study we're looking for, the traffic lights is for for Highway 7. This traffic study did Highway 7 and the adjoining streets.
So it's
Highway 7 had the traffic count, the adjoining streets did not.
Oh, so it's
That's where
different.
the problem was, because they take both in consideration.
Okay.
So yeah, we had lots of traffic on Highway 7 to qualify, but North Hastings Street didn't. And I can't imagine that there's much more traffic now that, and on top of that, we paid for the traffic study out of our own budget. And I think it was like $5,000. I mean, I'm just throwing that number out, but we did pay for it ourselves. And as you said, in the delegation, they were interested, but without the traffic study,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be successful.
And the other thing that come out of that discussion was, and maybe nobody has seen the signs or knows, but it is considered within a community safety zone. And where like fines are doubled, if you're exceeding, if you get charged, whatever. And that was another reason why it didn't really qualify, because it was already identified as a community safety zone. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, that's why I kind of specified non-controlled, because I know we've been through this with the ministry. Everything I could find on municipal records go back to 2018-ish roughly when this was discussed. So there already is senior crossing signs there. So those have clearly got approved. So I don't know, is there other mitigation that we can do, something that can be on the pavement? I talked to the OPP about it as well, and they said pedestrians always have the right of way, whether that's a crosswalk or not. Pedestrians are going to have the right of way. So I know we don't want to encourage unsafe crossing of Highway 7, but are there other things? That's why specifically I think we should maybe take that angle with the ministry, recognizing that it's not realistic to get a traffic stopping pedestrian crosswalk, but is there markings we could put on the road? Is there improved signage? Is there better lighting that we can put in the area just to draw attention? Because we do have a lot of people crossing at that area. Another suggestion that I kind of had was to bring attention to the transportation department, just in terms of snow buildup in that area. If we can try and do a better job of keeping the banks back and clear there, it would make a safer spot for people to cross.
Okay, anything further? John, did you want to comment?
Sure, through you, Chair, to council. It's an important issue. It's not one that we want to take lightly. I think going back and looking to see what other measures, anything we can do from an uncontrolled perspective, or just going back, it would be good to see if there are some either strategy, mitigation measures, actions that we can do. Because even after this was put on the agenda, I have seen a number of times where, regardless of the incident that happened here, which again, Certainly don't want to downplay. It is especially during the winter, it is consistently being used as a pass without those safety measures in place. So we'll see what we can do and come back to council with an idea of what are the possibilities, albeit it is frustrating. And I do agree with you, Deputy, that it's too close to the intersection of 14 and Forsyth, but we'll see what we can do, have that conversation and bring it back.
Thanks, John. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment, kind of from what Eric said. I like the idea of a traffic calming perspective, like some kind of a traffic calming coming into that area. It could be paint, it could be more signage. I know we got lots of signage, but some kind of a traffic calming. It does slow the traffic down. So I don't know how we achieve that, but I think that's worth looking into.
Thanks. Go ahead, Mike, and then Eric.
I think Ron there got a good idea, because I was reading an article on it and they say that paint and signage on the road is not as effective as barriers to, I've been on streets where you actually had to zigzag down the street to go slow. That's not going to happen on Highway 7. But they said paint and those hash marks and things like that, people do pay attention to them and do slow down for them. So, while it's not a total fix, it might help, because it's a lot of older people that are going across there, so they're not going to be as fast as the high school kids nipping across to get a ice cream or whatever. But that's a good idea.
Would we have to get approval from the MTO to do that, Ron? Do you know?
I think we should look into that. I think they would like to know about it. I don't think we have to have their permission, but it's good to work hand in hand with them, because it's so many meters outside. Like if there's so many meters close to the next connecting link, you have to get permission. That's about the middle. So we're okay, but it's good to keep them in the loop.
Okay.
And it's just a matter of maybe with our next connecting link contract, we could ask them to do a traffic calming study for us, and anything's better than nothing at this point.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Does anyone around this table know how the seniors crossing signs got there?
We put them there.
Wait, do you recall if that was with permission of, did that have to go through MTO?
No, and there's a bylaw pertaining to that, or that senior crossing.
Okay, so yeah, it would be, if we're calling that a crossing, how can we make that safer is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I can't remember the exact wording of your motion. Can you repeat it, please?
to direct staff to contact the Ministry of Transportation and discuss what further, if any, non-controlled crosswalk or traffic calming options are an option at Highway 7 and North Hastings intersection, and bring that information back to council.
Okay, so everybody knows the wording, so I'll call it to a vote. All in favor? That's carried. Thanks, Eric, for that. Next is letter from Mayor Tom DeLine, Municipality of Center Hastings, regarding the advocacy for future Alto high-speed rail access via the Madoc area station. And the recommendation is that council provide direction to staff. So I need a motion to deal with that letter. Can I get a mover, somebody to move a motion? Go ahead, Eric.
Sure, I'd put a motion on the floor to direct staff to complete the form letter provided by Center Hastings and support their application for a Madoc area station.
Go ahead, Ron.
Signed it second.
Oh, you're seconding. Okay. Any further comment? Go ahead, Eric.
I guess just for information, you mentioned earlier, kind of Alto is looking at two routes, a further south route. So I know Kingston, Thousand Islands, that area is really going to be pushing hard, it looks like, from the political involvement and being larger centers, and getting extremely engaged and getting their residents engaged to take the southern route. Whether you're in favor of this or not, if this would ever happen long term, a local stop, I think, would be economically beneficial to this area, and that's a great location, being very central. So I support their request for this. And then I would also remind residents that if they have feedback regarding the Alto project on March 5th in Madoc and March 25th in Sterling, there's open house information sessions. You can find that information on the Marmorant Lake website under announcements. And you can also engage if you go on the Alto website. They're also taking feedback and correspondence, and you can learn more about the project on their website as well.
And just so, for everyone's information, CAO John and I are registered to attend the March 5th meeting, at, El Dorado. And, we did have some quite lengthy discussions with Alexis that put on the delegation here. I managed to sit around a breakfast table with her and some other people that had shared their concerns about this high-speed rail system that's going to, I'm not sure if it's going to go the north route or the south route, but it's going to be high-speed rail. The likeliness of us getting any kind of a stop in these rural areas is very, very remote, but we can support the letter. Go ahead, Mike.
I think it's 300 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
He's not stopping very often.
no.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth, you'll never get up to 300 kilometers an hour again. That's the problem. So
Yeah.
it would be great, but it would defeat the whole purpose of it if he stopped like
Yeah.
6 times between Toronto and Ottawa.
And I just want to say that when we had our delegations and in discussion with Alexis, we constantly promoted the fact that the pump storage project could provide necessary power for this project, and we sort of, pushed that as much as we could, I guess. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I think even if we're, when we look at like the long-term horizon on this project, a stop there would, for us, be better than a southern stop. They've talked about points where, there's going to be multiple, even if it's not every train stopping at that station down the road, if one of 4 does, that's going to be beneficial for residents and promote growth in the area. So
I was just going to say that one of the discussions that I had was somebody said by putting this high-speed rail, they don't want to have stops other than the ones they have sort of identified. But in having this high-speed rail, it'll free up track space and like space for people to take the VIA train that does have those stops. So that was just one of the comments I heard. So anyway, we'll do our best to represent the municipality at the March 5th open house or round table. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next, Ron Fudge is requesting use of Booster Park for the Polar Plunge fundraiser. And the recommendation is the council grant the request of Ron Fudge to use Booster Park for his annual Polar Plunge fundraiser on Saturday, February the 15th, 2026 at 1 p.m. and that he be directed to provide the necessary insurance certificate to municipal staff prior to the event. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Jane, second, Eric. Any comments or discussions on that request? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Amelia Huffman, Alzheimer's Society, regarding Alzheimer Awareness Month proclamation. And the recommendation is that council proclaim January as Alzheimer's Awareness Month in the municipality of Marmorant Lake. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike, second. Eric, any questions or discussions? All in favor? That's carried. Building Inspection Services Board, December 2025 report. Recommendation that council receive the report for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Ron, and second, Jane. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mike.
Just want to make note, do we have 11 new homes built in our area? Plus, the one in Deloro, which is a multi-residential area too. So I think from the looks of it, things are slowing down a bit as far as building is going, but it's great to have those new homes and that multiple resident building going in the area, which will help us a lot. We need more. We could have had more several years ago, but it got derailed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And just so you know, the unit in Deloro, I think the first floor is being occupied now. So anyway, would you go ahead, John?
Through you, Chair, just to add to that. So, just before Christmas, signed a partial occupancy for the first floor. Second and third floor should be finished fairly soon if they're not already. But
Thank you. So all in favor? That's carried. Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus regarding chair and vice chair announcements. And the recommendation is the council accept the announcement for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric, second. Ron, any questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus newsletter for December 2025, and the recommendation that council receive the newsletter for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Jane, second. Ron, any questions or comments on the newsletter? All in favor? That's carried. Bradley McNevin, Quinte Conservation regarding their 2026 draft budget. And there's a whole lot of attachments with that draft budget letter. And the recommendation is the council receive Quinte Conservation's 2026 draft budget for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike and Jane, any comments or questions on that letter or those? Go ahead, Mike.
Just a couple comments on Quinte's budget. The budget came in at just over 2%, I do believe. Over the years, they've tried to run programs and things like that that are self-sustaining. So that means that people who pay the admission fee or pay for the whatever you want to call it, any of the things help support their efforts in conservation. So they're doing a lot of things like that to try to keep their budgets down. The biggest increase in our budget with Quinte Conservation is several years ago, they introduced the reserve fund, which is to take care of mostly dams in each municipality's area. So what it is basically is what most of us as municipalities should be doing, setting aside money each year to repair or replace these dams when they come up. The one thing I found by being on Quinte Conservation, anything you do with a dam is very, very expensive because it has to be very safe. It has to meet all kinds of criteria. So I would say I think 90% of our increase in budget this year is the increase of the money going to reserve for the dams that we have out in the Deloro area. But the alternative to that is to not do it. And then when something goes wrong with the dam at Deloro, be faced with a $300,000 or $400,000 bill to fix it. So I'm all in favor of what they're doing. Just a note.
Thank you, Mike. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next, Amanda Donald for the Crow Valley Conservation Authority draft budget letter, and the recommendation is that council receive Crow Valley Conservation Authority's 2026 draft budget for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Ron, second Jane. Any comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Next is Bradley McCallum, Ontario Provincial Police OPP 2026 annual billing statement and letter. And the recommendation is that council receive the statement for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Jane, second. Eric, any comments or questions on that statement? Eric?
Through the chair to our treasurer. Last year we put the excess into reserves. Is that correct? That we had allocated for the original bill before the province stepped in?
Yes, we put about $82,000 into reserves. I haven't budgeted to use all of that in 2026. Just because if we use it all in 2026 and 2027, we'll have an even larger increase, which will have a more heavy impact on the taxes. So I'm budgeting to use a portion of it.
Okay, typically that portfolio didn't carry reserves in the past, is that correct?
No, it hasn't. No.
Thanks,
Thank
Nancy.
you.
Anything further? Go ahead, Mike.
Just the point, we have little or no recourse as to what the OPP is charging. It's based on a province-wide formula, and it's based on cost per incident. And they have a formula that worked out. This whole budget came between the province and the OPP was negotiated. Municipalities had no or minimal input as to what was going on or how it came up. Anyways, the OPP, it is what it is. Nobody likes, it's one of those things. Everybody says, well, I don't get the police weren't at my house. And I go, well, isn't that great? I would rather them not show up and pay my taxes than to have them at my house every other day and pay taxes. So it's one of those things. It's like the fire department. It's expensive, but you're god darn glad it's there when you really need it. So, it's something that we're going to have to bite the bullet on every year and take it.
Thank you, Mike. Anything further, Eric?
Yeah, through the chair to Mike, because he sits on this board. Do you talk at all about community engagement opportunities? Because I see the OPP and other communities doing even smaller communities doing significant community engagement or information sessions about fraud or talking to the public about reporting tools if they see something. Because I don't see them really involved actively in our community in that way.
I think they're trying. They do involve in Madoc more with the schools being over there. They're more involved over in that area there with the students and things like that. Other than that, ours is a very small force here, and up until this year or last year, they were always running understaffed. In a lot of cases, they were 3 to 4 people understaffed, so they don't have a lot of time. We used to have a full-time community engagement officer. She was wonderful. Did a great job, but she's moved on now. She now teaches at the college in Aurelia, which is great for everybody else, but we lost a prime person there. Yeah, it's something they try to do. They do run every year. They give away bicycle helmets to the grades. I think it's the grade 3s and 4s. Every kid in grade 3 and 4 and the municipalities and the schools in this area gets a free bicycle helmet. The OPP show up. They show them safety tips and safety things like that at the school. And the kids all get a helmet. And they do bursaries to the high schools. But, and they are always putting out anything on fraud and all that. There's always a lot of stuff coming through. But the problem with that is people have to read it. You have to get it out there and they have to read all the stuff that's going on. But, and they were doing, going around to all the merchants, and there was this sign that they gave out, if people were coming in looking for too many gift cards of any one denomination, ask them why. This is for the staff at the store, because what a lot of fraudsters do, they'll say, which I can't figure out, you owe $5,000 in taxes and I want $5,000 worth of iTunes cards sent to us for, to cover your taxes. People do it. People get scared. They threaten them. It's just like being online with some of these people. But anyways, they do it, and I mentioned to bring up more and do more, but unless we get a full complement of staff, and I think we are getting there, we've got several new people coming in. So hopefully it'll do better.
Thanks, Mike. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaws. Bylaw number 2026-02, temporary borrowing bylaw. Recommendation is that bylaw 2026-2, being a bylaw authorizing the temporary borrowing of funds, be read and passed this 20th day of January 2026. And I have a mover and a seconder, please. Jane, second. Ron? Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Just saying this is a routine, annual routine, procedure. Bylaw number 2026-3, the interim tax levy bylaw. Recommendation is that bylaw 2026-3 being a bylaw to levy the interim taxes for all tax classes in the municipality of Marmor Lake for 2026 be read and passed this 20th day of January 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike, second, Eric. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 2026-4, committee appointment bylaw. Recommendation that bylaw 2026-4 being a bylaw to appoint or confirm members to various boards and committees for the purposes of the corporation of the municipality of Marmor Lake for the year 2026 be read and passed this 20th day of January 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Ron and Eric. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 2026-5, municipal auditor appointment bylaw. That bylaw 2026-5 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal auditor for the corporation of the municipality of Marmor Lake be read and passed this 20th day of January 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Jane, secondary. Any comments? All in favor? That's carried. Are there any announcements? Eric?
Just a couple quick ones. I'd like to say a big thank you to the roads crew for all their hard work over the holiday season. While many of us were off, their kids at home from school, our roads crew faced several pretty big storms over the holidays, interrupting their holidays, and they were out there doing a great job. In town, rurally, the sidewalks were great. So thank you to them for giving up their time with families and getting out there and doing such a good job. Knowing that they're shorthanded, keeping the roads clear and safe. I'd like to also thank the groups and businesses that have stepped up to sponsor free public skating at the arena. I think the community is really enjoying them. Turnout is great. If you are a business that is interested in sponsoring public skating, you can reach out to Jeff Young, the manager of Parks and Recreation, to set that up. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Anyone else have any announcements? I was just going to announce again the March 5th Alto presentation roundtable. We're registered to go, but I think anyone can attend. And I just like to encourage you all, like where this could go, could impact any one of our areas with our residents. So just be mindful of that, because I'm sure there'll be some unhappy people and some very happy people. So just be mindful of that. So anything further? Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session. And the recommendation is that council proceed into closed session at 6:32 p.m. Under the Municipal Act 2001, Section 239(2)(b), personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. D, labor relations or employee negotiations, policy enforcement. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees regarding personnel committee meetings minutes. D, labor relations or employee negotiations, a union update. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and it's regarding Riverside Pines. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mike, second. Jane, any comments? All in favor? Thank you.